bedroom didn't have enough closet space, so we built a second one without adding a single square foot to our house. And the surprising part is the space was already there. Welcome to Mission DIY. In this video, I'm going to show you how we added a second closet to our master bedroom by reusing space that was already inside the walls.
It was a fairly simple project, but it made a huge difference in how functional this room is. And let me just say, having an extra closet didn't hurt our marriage either. Let's take a look at the space when we bought the house. The master has one closet, and although it's a decent size, it just wasn't going to work for us. With one closet, it would have been tight to store my clothes as well as Russ's. I guess we could have made it work by swapping out our winter and summer clothes and storing them under the bed or elsewhere during the off seasons. But really, who wants to do that work every few months? Meanwhile, the bedroom next door had a closet that we really didn't need. So instead of adding onto the house or building something complicated, we asked a simple question. What if we just flipped the closet to the other side of the wall? Since both closets shared a front wall and a back wall, we realized we could close off the existing closet opening in the spare bedroom and then open that same closet space from the master bedroom instead. Basically, we would be taking the closet that was already there and just change which room it belonged to. The first step was opening up the wall where the new closet doorway would go. This allowed us to see exactly what framing we were working with and make sure everything would fit properly. We needed to move one electrical box and also realized the light switch would be in the way of the new opening. We updated those boxes and moved them closer to the door and out of the way of the closet opening and future trim. That return air vent also had to be moved in our situation. I'll get to that later. We cut the studs and drywall to the same height of the closet to the right. That way they would look like a matching pair and not a weird afterthought that wasn't done right. If you're doing this in your house, make sure the heights match, otherwise you'll have a hard time finding a door and it'll just look funny. You'll also want to make sure the width of your opening will fit the size of the new doors you want to put in. I cut some 2x4s to frame the new closet opening. There wasn't room for king studs, which go on the sides of the header, but instead I set the header on 2 jack studs to create the rough opening for the door. This is not a load-bearing wall, so we feel it's secured enough for this to last. We decided to bring in a heating and cooling professional to relocate the return air vent I mentioned earlier. Each room needs proper return airflow for the furnace to work efficiently, and since we often keep the bedroom door closed, this wasn't something we wanted to skip. Luckily, the HVAC crew was already working on other parts of our renovation, so adding this to their list made things a lot easier for us. In our case, they opened up the wall to create a new return air opening and then tied it into the existing return ductwork in the basement. It was mostly a matter of reworking what was already there. One thing we learned through this process is that if a room doesn't have proper return airflow, it can actually create pressure differences that can affect how well your heating and cooling works, especially if the door is closed. Your situation might be a little different depending on your home, especially if you have a finished basement ceiling, a crawl space, or limited access to your ductwork. So if you're planning something similar, it's definitely a good idea to consult a licensed HVAC professional and make sure everything is done properly and up to code. That way you're not risking airflow issues or putting unnecessary strain on your system. It's one of those things you don't see, but it makes a big difference in how your home functions. I finished wiring up the new light switch and outlet. This was a great time to upgrade the switch from the old turnstile knob to something more modern. In our case, there was enough slack in the existing wiring to move it over slightly. You should always consult a licensed electrician in your area to adhere to your local code and make sure it's done correctly. Russ framed in the back of the closet to close off the old doorway in the other bedroom. This was pretty straightforward framing, installing a top and bottom plate and adding studs every 16 inches on center. While he was working on that, I focused on patching in the floor where the wall had been. In our case, we were already doing renovations in another part of the house and had pulled up some of the existing wood flooring, so I was able to reuse some of those pieces to fill in the gap. But if you don't have extra flooring on hand, there are a few different ways you could approach this. One option is to pull boards from the back of the closet where the back wall will go over top, or where they won't be as visible, and then use those to patch the area in the doorway. Then you can replace the back section with new boards that are a close match. Another option is to find a similar flooring product and stagger the new pieces in, so the repair blends in as much as possible. And if you're planning to update your flooring down the road anyway, this is a great place to do a temporary patch, then refinish everything later. There are a few different ways to handle it, but the goal is to just make the transition look as seamless as possible. I think it looks pretty good. What do you think? Can you tell? With the framing complete, the structure of the closet was essentially finished, and it really started to feel like the closet space now belonged entirely to the master bedroom. On the other bedroom side, we installed drywall over the new framing and finished it so the wall blended in with the rest of the room, like the closet opening had never even been there. The room we took the closet from is actually pretty spacious, so for now we added a freestanding wardrobe, and it's working really well. It gives us plenty of storage for one of our kids' clothes. If we ever need more space down the road, we could always build a new closet along this wall. But at this point, it just isn't necessary. In the master bedroom, though, we didn't have that flexibility. Between the dressers and king-size bed, the space is pretty much maxed out. Once the drywall was sanded and painted, we added trim. And it honestly looked like the closet had always been a part of that room. We also decided not to install closet doors. I know a lot of people like having doors so they can just close them and hide everything. And we definitely have done that before. But for our bedroom, it just doesn't seem necessary. In fact, I didn't do any special cleaning or organizing before filming this. I know this is not Pinterest organization here or anything really inspiring, but that's just not how we live. We just keep things tidy enough for everyday use. And having the closets open actually makes the room feel a little bigger. Plus, no one really comes into our bedroom, so it's just us who see it. Skipping the doors saved us around $500, since adding 4 matching bifold doors, 2 for each closet, would have added quite a bit to the cost. But I'm curious, what would you do? Would you add doors, curtains maybe, or leave it open like this? It's a great size room for us, but adding that extra closet makes a huge difference in how functional it feels. And with each of us having our own space, it just makes it really practical for our life. What used to be a closet in the bedroom next to it is now a fully functional second closet for the master bedroom. It's amazing how often houses have little opportunities like this hiding inside the walls. Sometimes a small change can make a big difference in how a home works for your family. There's a verse in Proverbs 24:3 that says, "By wisdom a house is built, and through understanding it is established." And in a simple way, that's what this project was about. Just trying to use a little creativity and make our home work better for our family. Sometimes the best storage solutions aren't about building something new, they're just about using the space you already have in a smarter way. Thanks for watching and following along this build. If you enjoy practical DIY projects like this, consider subscribing to Mission DIY. We've got plenty more home improvement projects coming up.